Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about the death of video games, but not just in the typical sense. We're not discussing conceptually. I want to actually talk because we have some leaked budget numbers now for some big games, and I gotta admit I'm frustrated. I feel like the entire industry now is in a very apocalyptic position. Every company is chasing that Call of Duty money. Everybody wants to make a games as a service project with 18 different battle passes and microtransactions and everything to just keep you locked in and monetized. And I guess I get frustrated because I really loved the late Xbox 360 era, the early PlayStation 4 era. Like, remember when we used to get games back to back, games with great characters, with cool stories? And yeah, they weren't the longest, but they were fun to replay. And if you bought a game, a lot of times you get the sequel like 2 years later. Uncharted 1, 2, 3, back to back to back. Gears of War 1, 2, 3, back to back to back. And now everybody is just trying to make the billion-dollar franchise. And today, according to these new leaks, I think we kind of understand that chasing that Call of Duty money, trying to make everything games as a service, is objectively and measurably going to end the industry. But let's talk about why. I hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So I saw this come out last night, and everybody was kind of shocked, to say the least. But this is Stephen Totilo. He's a very good journalist. He's worked at a bunch of different websites. Well, apparently he was reading a bunch of new court documents that were just filed by Activision, and in it they just casually mentioned that Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War cost $700 million to make. $700 million. Now, a lot of people are talking about this because that means that, just according to these documents, 4 of the 10 most expensive games ever are all Call of Duties. They're all recent Call of Duties. And I feel like the reason this is kind of sticking in my head is because it feels like we're in this very nuclear arms race. Every company is trying to just put out the biggest game with the most marketing, with the most celebrity cameos and stuff like that. And we're hitting this point where if your game doesn't become the biggest thing ever, if your game isn't Call of Duty massive, it flops. The studios close. I mean, we're watching so much go wrong, and it's because everything has gotten so expensive. Now, I made a video about this last year, but there was the Insomniac hack. It's the people that actually work at Sony that, make Spider-Man. Well, there was a hack, and somebody dug through a bunch of their emails and stuff, and they leaked that Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million to make. Now, at the time, I was very taken aback because I love Spider-Man 2. I love all the Spider-Man games. Spider-Man's definitely my man, but this seems like an astronomically over-budget game. And I say that because I like Spider-Man 2, but it wasn't that long. It wasn't that big. It was cool. It was great. It was nice to have 2 separate Spideys you could play simultaneously, but $300 million feels like such a big price. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's because they were trying to basically make it be a PlayStation 5 system seller, and everybody is constantly trying to chase that Call of Duty money. Something else that was in this leak that unfortunately I can't show you is that essentially they were making their own games as a service Spider-Man game. It was called like Web of Realities, Web of Shadows. It was going to basically be a multiversal Spider-Man games as a service. There's even a leaked trailer for it and stuff. And it sucks to think about the fact that I feel like everybody is chasing the Call of Duty trend, the GTA trend, the Fortnite trend, trying to find their own way of making a game that prints billions and billions of dollars. And I feel like these budgets being leaked, I think it's finally showing the fact that these games are in a totally different territory, and I feel like companies should stop thinking this is easy, that this is achievable in the typical sense. Like, look at this. Okay, yes, these games cost hundreds of millions of dollars. For each of these games, hundreds of millions of dollars, but here's the other aspect of it. When a lot of people think about annualized games, where you get a new game every single year, companies seem to love the idea of that. Oh, we'll have a dedicated fan base. We release Madden, FIFA, everything, back to back to back. They got to buy it for the new roster, for the new patches, for the new features. But I feel like nothing can really compete with the sheer scale and the obsessive dedication, apparently, of Call of Duty fans specifically. 43 million copies sold. Like, it is weird to think about the fact that Call of Duty is not only some of the best-selling games of all time, every single year it just is the best-selling game of all time. That's weird to think about. It sells more than anything else. And I feel like the reason I'm getting frustrated by this is because I think people are kind of thinking, oh, we can copy this. We can just make our own game like that. I mean, we constantly see, Sony tried to make Concord. We saw Square Enix put out like Foam Stars. We keep seeing companies that just think, okay, if we make a games as a service, it will instantly make Call of Duty money, which means other games are getting canceled. Other projects are being discontinued. Other projects are getting under budgeted because they got to dump all their cash into chasing that Call of Duty money. And you're never going to get it, little bro. You're never going to reach the heights of Call of Duty. I got to admit that whenever I saw this stuff, whenever I hear about Call of Duty, like, I know it's big because there's entire streamers that only play it. There's people that do esports about it. Like, I understood that COD was big, but I never really understood that it's this big, that it's the biggest game of all time. And it kind of frustrates me that everybody thinks this is what games should be. Remember stories? Remember when you'd get stuff that was just tiny and heartfelt and great from AAA studios, when you'd actually get stuff that felt like this interesting think piece or had cool characters or dramatic moments, and you'd get them back to back to back. And I feel like that idea, that interesting connection to the art itself is becoming vanishingly rare because instead they'd rather chase the concept of copying Fortnite. Now, I did see some people kicking around the idea of, oh, this is why Microsoft bought them, but somehow they're not able to maximize Game Pass. Game Pass kills sales. I don't know. I kept seeing people link this like, oh, Phil Spencer bought this. Phil Spencer is going to try and find a way to make everything into Call of Duty or make Call of Duty hold up every other Xbox game. I guess I can't even really think about this as a console war thing. I feel like this is an industry war thing. Like, I saw this post over in the Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit and actually loved this a lot, where someone said, okay, let's actually consider that. Like, this amount of money is brain breaking. Like, consider something that's been going on for years and years and years. I love this. This guy refers to it a black hole games. Stuff like Fortnite, Final Fantasy XIV, GTA Online, or here's actually some good ones, Overwatch or World of Warcraft, which obviously are both Blizzard properties, which are also part of the Activision Blizzard umbrella. Those games also probably cost billions and billions and billions of dollars to not just make, but to upkeep, to keep employed, to come out with expansions, to come out with more seasonal content. I am now in a spot where I am frustrated that so much of the industry thinks that this should be the standard. I feel like so many of these executives, these bigwigs, these people that, let's face it, don't play games and don't care about them, I feel like these people just think, okay, how can we make the next GTA? Instead of thinking of it the other way around. How can I make a game that's great, that connects with people, that makes people want to buy the console, which makes people want to go to the playground and talk to their friends about it? How can I make a game that actually connects with the audience, that makes them want to cry, that makes them want to buy shirts with it on and stuff? Nobody cares about that anymore. It is just, how can I cram it full of microtransactions? More than anything else, when I look at these numbers, what really hits me is Ubisoft. We've been talking about this, but I definitely think that Ubisoft is probably going to die this year. I mean, I feel like there's a 99% chance that they're going to get smashed apart, broken up, sold in chunks. And it's weird to think about the reason that happened is because Ubisoft became obsessed with franchises instead of cool stories. Okay, we got to make Watch Dogs. Now another Watch Dogs. Now we have to have For Honor Season 25. Now we have to have Just Dance 2028. And they became so locked into this idea of annualizing, of monetizing, they forgot to just give us a good character to care about, like Ezio, like Desmond. I feel like gaming really has to find a way to reset, to make stuff feel classic, to feel heart, to feel like we matter. I'm not acting like the industry is going to implode tomorrow, but it does feel like this pivot to making everything purely about the profit instead of about the fun, about the cool, about the engagement. I feel like this is bad, and I'm not sure if it's even ever going to get fixed. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about this? And does this feel as bad to you as it does to me, or am I being a drama queen? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. $700 million. My God. Oh my God. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.